Steiner here, as always, with another episode of Secondhand Talent with my buddy Anthony Z. Donaldson. Buddy, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
But thank you so much for having me. Honored to be here. I love the name Steiner because I'm an old wrestling fan, so it reminds me of the Steiner brothers. I'll put you in the Steiner,
bro.
Yeah, he was a big Papa Pump. Like, yeah, that used to get me pumped up as a kid back in the day. But it's great to be here, man. Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you here, man. And to get you pumped up for the show, we have our first question that we ask to every guest, which is, if you had never heard the term before, what does secondhand talent mean to you?
Secondhand talent to me means the B squad or the garage band or the indie garage sale type of thing. Those guys, the secondhand talent, are the ones that you're calling in. They're the second string, if you will. You know what I'm saying? The reserves. They're coming off the bench. They're the ones that just barely got on the team.
Just barely got on the team, but when the bottom of the ninth, when you need a dinger, you know who you're sending to the plate.
You send the utility guy that hasn't had any at-bats whatsoever in the year, and you hope for that goddamn miracle, brother.
That's right.
I love it. Secondhand talent, though.
Among other things, you have Disruption Network, which is an entertainment media platform. Real quick, sorry, had to give a quick shout out to Tenacious Toys over here. They are supplying these lovely little things for us to take a look at. Go ahead and check them out, tenacioustoys.com. Among Disruption Network, which is an entertainment platform that you started, you are also the guitar tech for Vinny from the band Mo. And what else do you do?
Drum tech.
Drum tech. Let's start over. For some reason, you know why? Because they posted the picture of you holding the guitar is why
Yes, they did. I know. It's funny. That photographer, Paul Satone, shout out to Paul Satone, by the way. I love that man. He's got like 10,000 pictures of me throughout the years. And that's the picture you chose?
Maybe he chose the one with the guitar.
Right. I mean, it's a pretty cool guitar. It's a replica of Prince's guitar from Purple Rain and whatnot. But yeah, it was cool. Shout out to the Mo crew. I love those guys, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Mo, I've had the pleasure of meeting them on a few different occasions, and really just incredibly nice people to be around. I mean, what's it like working with a band that's touring nationally as an instrument tech? I mean, what's that life like?
Well,
I mean, I know it's a broad question, but
yes. Well, for me, it was an easy fit. I've known those guys for so many years, and Vinny's like a brother to me, So, and I also help Jim too. So I'm a drum percussion tech. So I handle the back end, if you will, of the Mo guys. But it was an easy fit for me. It really was. I think I told them the first day, I was like, you guys ain't getting rid of me. But what's it like? You don't sleep much, and you're constantly on the go, and there's, early mornings and load in, and you're moving heavy gear, and but then the cool thing is I'm hanging out with my brothers, man, and it's been such a tight-knit family traveling down the road together that we've actually formed a band amongst the crew. And
that's amazing.
We got to play at Saranac Brewery here in Utica. We got to play 3 songs, and we wore inflatable costumes, and we rocked the house. We called ourselves Finger Bang. and we had a great time. And the cool thing is, when we set up, we get to jam out a little bit and get to play and have some fun. And and the constant text messaging is going on, like, we should play this song and we should play that song. But I think what it is now, we're not sticking with the Finger Bang moniker anymore, and we're going to switch it up. Like, every gig, it's going to be a different name. So I think
that's awesome.
So the next name is going to be Decibel Felon.
That works perfect with our mascot, Dr. Decibel. That's amazing.
Cool.
Well, we've got these nifty little pins here.
Sweet.
Dr. Decibel pins that are now officially available on the Secondhand Talent website. So I mean, obviously sounds busy, but
It is.
cool knowing, coming in as part of the crew obviously has its advantages, but I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, but did you start this adventure in music with the I want to be a drum tech?
No, I know nothing about the drums whatsoever in my life, pal. um,
So how, like, talk to us a little bit about, where your roots in the entertainment industry come from and kind of what brought you to where you're at now.
how much time do we have on this podcast?
We've got enough.
All right, cool. So it starts from birth, Steiner. It does. It's
Okay.
music is part of my DNA. It's part of my fabric. It's part of my family history. My grandfather was playing in music. He was playing. So my grandfather had an amazing career. He was playing in Dixieland jazz bands and all these nighttime gigs, and then have to be up at 7 in the morning to play in church. And he would handle that routine for 40 years. He would play at night in the clubs, no matter where they are, spread out upstate New York, make it in time for church, play all the masses to like noon or 1 o'clock, and then come home and sleep all day, and then do it with a constant revolving circle. My dad fell into the same routine and became into wedding bands and started traveling around and playing in wedding bands. So I was carrying gear into my dad's gig at 4 or 5 years old, putting
Huh.
microphones on stands and running cables and shit. Like I know how to plug a PA in at a very early age, if you will, and setting up gear.
Yeah.
So that turned into like me wanting to learn how to play guitar. And then I can hold the beat on the drums. I would go downstairs at my dad's place and learn how to play drums a little bit, fiddle around. But I always wanted to play guitar. And so I got into music there and played in little garage bands as a teenager and played in gigs in my 20s. And I opened a club in upstate New York. I was a venue owner. I owned a live music venue here in Utica for 10 years called the Electric Company. And that's kind of where my story falls in with Mo, because Al and Vinny and all those guys used to play at the bar and in different forms in different bands. Al and Transamericans, Floodwood, or Vinny used to play with some dead bands. They'd come in and out of my bar like every 6 weeks, every 2 months, you know. So I got to be really tight with them. And then I would work with them in some sort of fashion throughout my folks and creative concerts and at the Saranac Brewery, so on and so forth. So that's how my Mo connection comes into effect. Throughout my years of running the Electric Company, I was playing in heavy metal bands and shit and cover bands. Used to play in a band called Choke Slam where we would wear wrestling masks. I would
Choke
wear
slam. I
yeah,
love that.
I would wear a Rey Mysterio mask every gig. And my buddy and the lead singer would dress up like the Ultimate Warrior. We had Sergeant Slaughter. We had the Undertaker.
That's
Every night
incredible.
we would put
That's
the
Oh
we
my
would put
God.
a ring out, you know, and there would be a ring as the stage and ropes around the stage, and we would go all out and play like all these heavy metal
I would
songs.
pay to see that concert. That's awesome.
There's some YouTube footage out there. There's definitely, if you search Choke Slam Utica, there's a bunch of, and every gig was a little bit different too. But we try to stick to the wrestling theme pretty much most of the gigs. But we had a great run, man. In fact, we're still brothers, man. We're still on a text line every day and sending disgusting shit to each other and whatnot. So um, yeah, it's great. And then I have another band out there is the rap rock funk album called Street Rock Mafia that I did, and we had a great run with that band. We got to open up for Fishbone and Sublime with Rome and Bad Fish and Mob Deep. We opened up for Mob Deep. We had
That's
a
what.
Yeah, it was a great run with that band. That was from like 2013 to about, and we still kind of keep it active, but we haven't had a gig in like a few years before the pandemic and whatnot. But if you go on Spotify and search Street Rock Mafia, you can see all the music and all the videos. We got a bunch of great, cool videos of us in a bank. Bitch, better have my money. and
That's incredible.
we were lucky enough to do the theme. Well, the theme song for our local hockey team, our AHL hockey team. At the time, they were in the Calder Cup finals, and I was inspired to do it. So we wrote this song called "Inspirational Noise," and they let us film it on the ice at the Utica Odd, which is really cool. Which was they filmed the
What?
movie Slap Shot, and yeah, it was really cool, man. So if you go to YouTube and search Street Rock Mafia, yeah, you can
That's
find you can find a lot of stuff.
that's
I've done a
really
lot of
cool.
shit. I've done a lot of shit, bro. It's I'm 48 years old, and my we could be here for days talking about my history. So
Serious, like I have so many questions now. But that's well, that's a wild and varied background there. Um,
I did, and in
that's
the night I forgot to mention in the '90s I did radio.
okay. I did radio for a couple of years as well. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it immensely. So
Steiner, you got great pipes, by the way. I was gonna say that. I was gonna
thank
mention
you.
that before we started, but you do have great radio pipes. I like your inflections. It sounds like you're definitely schooled in radio.
I appreciate that. My mother always told me I had a face for radio. Um, but
Me too.
yeah. It's great to hear that it came from an early age. That's one of the big things that I took away from what you were saying, and you were talking about carrying your dad's gear into gigs and all that. Like, I recall when I was growing up, my uncle was a former drummer for the Dwarves. When we used to go to his house, he had his records and tapes and he had his drum kit in the laundry room, and like two of my brothers who are wonderful instrumentalists, that's how they picked it up, was, in the drum room in my uncle's laundry room. And from that young age, going and taking it with them and doing great things with it. What I hear in common, and the reason I think of my brothers as well, is that they are also very like eclectic in their avenues of artistic expression. So, how you're talking about being tech and playing in bands and being on the radio and having a podcast, it seems like there's just this incredible amount of creative energy that you've got. And I'm wondering, how do you choose to channel that into your projects, and how do you prioritize, what comes first?
That's a great question. Prioritize is something that I'm not really strong in. I'm a kind of a scatterbrain. I'm a
Guilty.
stoner.
Yep.
It's no big, I tend to procrastinate, but I work way better under pressure than anything. But I also am a type of guy. See, I kind of balance on both sides of the beam, because on the other side is sometimes I like to just to get it done and over with. So
Yep.
it depends. It depends on right now how I'm prioritizing is what's making me feel whole as a person. Actually, is
Mm.
what how I'm prioritizing it. I'm prioritizing is it feeding my soul or not? Because you know, you can always make money. I think that's the way I look at it, and you can always get out there. But are you feeding your soul? Are you putting your creative energy out there? And how are you channeling it out there? I want to be a vessel of creativity for a lot of people, and that's why I have Disruption Network. So I look at it as like a family tree, and everybody kind of bounces ideas off of each other. When we were up and rolling on a full circuit, and I still have a couple shows out here that I'm still doing. There's like 4 or 5 shows that we're running out of the D right now. But it's cool. It's great creative energy. I like bouncing stuff off of ideas. Like I get a great vibe from you, and I know if we sit here and talk, we could probably be here for hours
I don't
talking
doubt it. Yep.
about a bunch of different creative stuff and ideas that we have. And I'm the type of guy that comes up with a bunch of ideas, throw them up against the wall and see what sticks,
See
bro.
what
Get
sticks. Yeah.
and then if one of them sticks, and if it's something that serves my soul, I'm gonna run with it. I
That's
did like
that's awesome.
and
That's yeah.
and then the other thing is too is I fell back from music for a while because of like the whole playing in a band thing. You're in a relationship with other dudes and other people, not just dudes, but you're in a relationship with other people, and you take on their day-to-day activities and their families and their
Mhm.
job schedules, and it's a lot. So I had to take a step back from that, and wanted to feed my creative radio soul, if you will, going back to the '90s and broadcasting and going out and showing debuting new music, and that's what I love. I'm so
Hitting
passionate
your
about
roots.
music, and hitting my roots. Exactly. Yes, thank you. And hitting
Yeah,
my
no,
roots.
I
And
totally
there's
get
so much
that.
great music out there that people need to know about. You know,
Yes. You
and
know,
I think
I am
platforms like what we have are the perfect example of how to use our platform to get your music out there.
a couple things you said there I want to touch on. First, my goal for secondhand talent, right, is that it's a vehicle to bring up other people in our industry. You mentioned it before. We the secondhand talent, as we refer to it, right? All the other villagers in the village it takes to put on a show, right? One of the sad but true factors of that is that if we're doing our job right, you don't know we're there. Like that's kind of like the ultimate sign that like let's say an LD is doing their job right, is that nobody notices that the LD is there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it it's great because it creates that separation that we like to have between, the public and, our and being private. But at the same time, somebody mentioned to me the other day, well, I don't, I think your show's great for the avid fan and not necessarily the casual fan. And I said, well, I think that the casual fan would be interested in some of these things. I just don't think that, you don't know what you don't know, right? And the casual fan probably doesn't know much about audio mixing or about stage management or about poster art or about being a drum tech. And they don't know that these stories are out there. Just kind of waiting to be told. And that's, one of the big reasons that I love this platform so much is that it gives me the opportunity to showcase the hard work and talent of my colleagues in the industry.
Dude,
Um,
you get a bell for it, dude. I'm giving you a bell. Yeah, just because
I'll take that bell.
it's so awesome that you showcase the people behind the scenes. Because when people go to a show, all they see is front of house. They don't
Yep.
know that we're there at 8 o'clock in the morning setting things up. They don't know that all we had to eat for lunch was donuts or something like that.
If
And
you're
listen,
lucky, you had
yeah,
donuts.
on a stagehand side of things, because when I'm not on the road with Mo, I also do the stagehand thing, and I'm out working for my production team. Shout out to the Pirate Crew in Syracuse. I'm out with my production team when I'm not on the road, so I get to see all facets of it. And it's funny. Let me expand on something else too. It's super important if you're getting to the music industry and it's something that you want to do in life. I think it's important to learn all facets of it. Learn box
Mm,
office, learn merchandise, learn how to
mm,
do a load in, get up in the morning, do a load in, be a runner for the day, sit
mm.
behind the light board, learn how to plug the lights in, be a stagehand, do all facets, even clean up at the end of the night, picking up trash. You should learn all facets of the industry if you want to get into it. Then you can decide if you want to get into the industry or not. Because it's
You know
not
what?
easy work. It's not easy work. It really
That
isn't.
is
And it takes a very special person to be in the industry. You need to have thick skin because we're hard edge people. We ain't putting up much bullshit. And if you don't fit on a team, we're gonna tell you get the fuck out. You know,
Yep.
and,
Yep.
and so it's you got to have thick skin. You got to be able to listen. You got to be able to take direction, and you got to be able to have some kind of smarts. You know what I mean? And reliable transportation
Thousand
to get to the
percent.
gig. You know.
And reliable transportation, yes. So one of the one of the secondhand talent feats that I was most impressed by in recent history. I saw Mike Gordon band at Talia Hall here in Chicago in June, and I was hanging out with the crew after the show. They had the stage broke down and in the truck in under an hour. It was one of the wildest things I've ever seen. The entire and like and to your point, that it's long days, it's hard work. That advice of knowing all the different aspects of the industry are essential because if you're coming into it like as a photographer and you think, "Oh, well, all I need to do is point and click and snap a few times." Like, that's not the whole job. It's one thing if you're there on a voluntary basis and you're doing it for yourself. But if you're getting hired to do a job, right? Like you got like if they say, be here at 8, you're there at 8. I mean, it's
Mhm.
it's it's just like any normal gig.
Yeah, exactly. It's the way we all look at it. You know, you get up in the morning, you get off the bus, you start work, you have a quick little breakfast, you start work, you unload the truck, you set up all the gear, make sure everything's working, do a line check, make sure it's all set up before the band shows up. Band shows
Well,
up, they practice, rehearse, and then dinner. I mean, it's very regimented. It's a very scheduled day, and you're doing that for a month straight. You
but
know,
that's
and
the
it's
other thing though, is that, the band needs to be able to show up and rehearse, right? That's like that's the ticket. So it's not a question of, you know, we can be lackadaisical about this, about, getting the gear set up, getting the lines checked, getting the front of house plugged in. Like we can't be, dilly-dallying despite the fact that yes, it might be 6 hours before the show, but like these things need to get done before the show, no matter what, let alone before the band shows up. So it's all hands on deck at all times. I mean, if somebody like if you're on the road and somebody in the crew isn't feeling well that day, that doesn't mean that their job doesn't have to get done, right? It's next man up.
uh, it's happened. It's happened to us before. You know, you just gotta everybody jump in, all hands on deck. You know, we're such a tight knit crew that we know the ins and outs pretty well. I mean, and shout out to my boy Steve Young, who's been most front of house guy for like over 30 years. The guy is a legend in the industry and just has it down, and we just follow his lead pretty much. You know, he leads by example. He doesn't want to be the leader, but he is the leader because he leads by example. And it's amazing to learn and watch from him. He's such a mentor, and the way he handles people and the way he handles situation, truly amazing. I mean, he's just such a kind soul, and there's not one person on this earth like Steve Young, hands down. So following him and watching his lead, and we just kind of all gravitate to what he's doing, and and get the job done, man. We do. And like you said about Mike Gordon's crew, that's we need to get it done under an hour because we want to get and take a shower after we're done loadout.
Right. You got
You
you got
know,
to
I want
get
to
to the
get it
next
there.
town.
I want
You
to go
got
take a
things to
shower,
do.
and I want to go. I want to get to the shower, and I want to smoke a joint. I want to go to bed
Right. Right,
and
because
wake up
when
somewhere else.
right, when you're attending a concert, you're also leaving the concert. When you're on tour, you're getting ready for the next gig as soon as that gig wraps up.
Mm-hmm.
You're just kind of right back into it. Uh, you uh, when you talk about being a leader by kind of by default, by example, right? And that it has been, kind of a recurring theme with all of our guests on the show in some form or fashion with regards to that generation that came before you, kind of handing down that wisdom and their approach either through their words or through their actions to kind of let the new generation coming in, know the ropes, learn kind of how to do things, to cater to uh, particular tastes of whoever you're working with, how to work on the fly, how to have a good attitude. Like these are things that get honed and developed over time. And yeah, in this case, right? Like even if somebody doesn't want to necessarily be a leader, the fact that you're crediting them as a leader by example is exactly the mentality that we feel is so important when it comes to secondhand talent.
Yes. So you people gravitate towards you when you do lead by example instead of being the vocal one and be like, you follow me, blah blah blah. No, you just do it, get the job done. People gravitate towards that, especially those who fall into the same suit will be the ones gravitating towards you. You know, if you're one that busts your ass and a hard worker all the time, you're gonna tend to gravitate to those type of people, right? You know, and
Yeah,
that's cool. The cool thing about the Mo organization is like everybody's pretty much like minded in that facet, and
yeah,
we
that
and that's
same
how we get the job
pagedness.
done, and that's why
Yeah.
they. It's a test to the band too because they've been doing it for over 30 years.
Well, I was gonna say, I've been, fortunate to see him play several times. Like I said before, I've met him a handful of times, and I just recall, it's been a while since I seen them, but I do recall the last time that I saw them, Munyon was opening for them, my dear friends, um, and they encored with I think it was recreational chemistry and Rebubula. And it was like just a massive encore. And one thing that impresses me so much about bands like Mo, like Humphreys, like Fish, that nimble cohesiveness and being with each other to the point where you can feel where your friends are going with the music, so that you're not relying on verbal cues necessarily and you're really able to go with the jam, go with the flow in a nonverbal way, to me is one of the great hallmark testaments of a band that works well together. And I think Mo hits all of those points based on my experience with the band.
Yeah, the longevity with that band is amazing. This is the other
It's
thing I love
incredible.
about what I love about the jam band community is I love watching the growth of these bands. I mean, Mo is what maybe the third or fourth wave of the jam band scene. You've got those waves we've talked.
Sure.
You hear
Yeah.
about it in all those podcasts, the wave of jam
Jam
bands, right?
bands 2.0.
Right. And there's been so many waves of them. And now you're seeing like Look at Goose, what they're doing. And,
Sure.
you had Twiddle a couple of years ago and bands like that. And it's like watching the growth of these bands just blow up is truly remarkable. And
Mm.
it's a test to the people that come out. It's the fans, the community, the supporters that come out day in and day out that will travel the globe and travel the country and travel the world to see their favorite bands and then go online and bitch about them. Like, I love that. I love when they go and complain and go on like morons and be like, oh, well, they didn't hit this segment right. And like, I don't like Nate playing flute and blah, blah, blah. I love that shit because if they're talking bad about you, sometimes you're doing something right, you know?
Right. It's the
And
engagement
so
that
it's
that
the
that that
engagement, right?
astounds me.
Exactly.
Like I
Exactly.
have,
And that's what I
yeah,
love about the community because it's like that. And it's so like my band's better than yours. And I love that shit. It's like almost like gym class to me.
yeah. I mean, like those like, the fish or the dead, or like Mo
Right.
Humphreys, or like Spafford or Goose, or like those kinds of like, quote unquote rivalries, right? Like it's great to see that fan engagement. Like that is what, band can be good, but longevity comes from the community. Longevity comes from, if you're the second hand talent, the fans are the third hand talent. That's what we call, that's our Facebook group, is the third hand talent. That's our fans. I mean, it's really, longevity is, think of the term one hit wonder, right? There's
Mhm.
so many bands that have produced amazing music that have come and gone by the wayside. You mentioned just now these waves, right, in the jam scene, these waves of bands. You know, to me, what I see as the key differentiator amongst those bands, not to name any names, but the key differentiator is that community engagement. And, Mo has something like Fish and like Humphreys, has something very special with the way that they not only embrace their fan base, but, interact and respond to them as well.
Oh, 100%, man. The community is the reason why these guys do it each and every day. It's funny. We talked about the rivalries, and they'll be like, "Oh, my band's a little bit better than yours," but behind the scenes, all the bands they all love each other like a
Yeah.
brotherhood. And that's the beauty of it. And that's why you have such great festivals and all these great collaborations that have happened throughout the years, is
Yeah.
because it's such a tight knit community backstage. It is,
Yeah.
and I love seeing that. I love when we're at summer camp, we're backstage, and all the bands are hanging out, and we're just drinking, having fun, laughing.
It
That's so much.
also
That's why we keep going. It keeps bringing us back to those moments, is
it also really
because of those
showed
hangs.
it was really special. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but when the guys got together, the Humphreys and Mo guys got together and played a few songs together. That was really special for me to see as a longtime fan of both bands because I've met them. I mean, I know them all, but and I know they're all friends, right? But to see them all together making that music is is something really special. It's a really unique window into that backstage feeling that I think the casual fan doesn't really, get to glimpse into very often.
Yeah, it's fun backstage at summer camp, but especially on like Sunday night when it's all said and done in VIP, and Vinny's got his shirt off backstage bartending for everybody, and it's just such a free for all. They get half naked, and all the bands are back there pouring drinks in their underwear and whatnot, and it's so funny to watch. But like you said, they're it's like one big brotherhood, man. And Vinny and Bayless have the same birthday. You know what I mean? Like that's
Really?
how. Yeah, that's like what a tight knit community it is, and they text
Oh,
each other all the time. Like they're always in communication with one another, and they're talking about summer camp or with what's coming up, Soul Shine Revival this
yeah.
year or whatever it is. Um, but they're always in communication with one another, and it's great to see, man. We had such a great run with them back in June at Red Rocks. We had 2 nights with them. Mo opened for Humphreys at Red Rocks. I made my the lifetime moment achievement of me getting dressed up in my inflatable bee costume and running around on the stage during Mo's set of No Rain.
That was you?
That was me, and
Ah,
so that was my highlight of my life. I never knew that was a fantasy of mine until I actually did it. So
till it happened. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty cool. But those guys got together, played so many songs together. Even before that, at summer camp, they were doing a bunch of stuff together. That summer camp prior to that Red Rocks, they were up there playing a bunch of stuff, and Al was sitting with this one, and Myers and Bayless were sitting with Mo, and it's just, and Jake sat in with Mo, and it was super cool, man. And again, it's one big nothing but love brotherhood amongst both fans for sure.
So, I mean, it's yeah, as someone who knows them and has been around, obviously it's something that I know, but I feel like for our listeners and viewers, that's a really great sentiment to hear imparted because it's, the cat again, getting back to the casual fan and not knowing what you don't know. Like some people take those, quote unquote rivalries as gospel and assume, that the band feels this way or that way. And I think it's refreshing to hear that, the point of view that hey, we joke, we jib at each other, but at the same time, we love each other. We're brothers
Yeah. Families bicker at each other, right? You bicker with your siblings. You guys
all the
bicker with
time.
Mike. Exactly. It's the same thing, man. There's videos out there of Rob smacking Stasic over the head with a broken beer bottle. I don't know if you've seen that back in the day, but And there's always been like that kind of weird internet rivalry because if it's on the internet, it's got to be true,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I saw
yeah.
it on Facebook. It's got to be true. But
Right.
again, there's nothing but love, man.
I'm just picturing Rob's. That's so funny.
That was funny. It was funny.
Um, I guess one thing that would be we would be remiss to leave out before we wind down is take us through a day in the life of a drum tech. Like I mean, obviously, again for our casual fans and listeners, who may not be, aware of kind of what goes in, you know, to being an instrument tech, I would ask maybe like kind of explain what it is and kind of what the day entails and if you had a choice to tech your favorite instrument or not.
Well, I'm a bass player, so I would love to tech Rob, but Frank's got that down. My
He's
boy
got
Frank
okay.
Robbins, he's got that down. He's been doing it for years and years. But so what I do is I set up Vinny and Jimmy for percussion and drums. And Vinny's pretty simple. He's got a simple kit, so you set that up and get that all rolling too. We can start my day is like I roll out of the bunk, I stretch and get something to eat really quick so I can get some energy going and unload that trailer. Get all the gear out on the trailer with the stagehands, and I have no problem telling people what to do. So I tell them push that over there, that goes over there. I start pointing people in directions. Okay, we open up cases, start pulling out all the hardware, set up the gear, set up the drums. Right, I try to set up Vinny either it depends. Sometimes I try to set up Jim first and do Vinny last because Vinny jump kit's a little, Vinny will take me like 10, 15 minutes. Where Jim's percussion rig takes like over an hour because he's got a marimba and he's got the vibraphones and he's got, congas and timbales and the guy's got more freaking cowbells than Will Ferrell. He's got things on triggers and blocks, and he's got a pedal, and he plays guitar, and he's got like this whole setup. So he takes a while to set up. And every day he puts something new into the mix. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, I just got this new pedal, man. You got to check it out." And
I had this
he always
triangle.
yeah, he always and I'm like Jim, he keeps adding new stuff up, and he's got shakers and all this other stuff, and right, vibra slaps and he'll always add some new stuff, and it's like Jim, you're a hoarder. He's like, man, it's not hoarding if you got cool shit. So I'll set him up, then set Vinny up, set his kid up. He's pretty simple. Make sure they're up and ready to go. Um, and then the band will come in and warm up a little bit, and then when they go, there's a couple things you got to fine tune before they hit the stage and how they want things, and put drinks out and towels and set lists and make sure they got everything they need. So all they have to do is hit the stage and go. It's pretty much the bottom line.
make
And then there's some
make sure you've
downtime.
got gaff tape.
Right. The house should always have the gaff tape. We don't like to
Yeah.
use our own. Um,
Dude.
but and then in the meantime of all that, when there's lunch and dinner and stuff, Vinny, thank God, he's a brother of mine. We hold each other accountable. So we have some sort of activity. We usually do like 100 push-ups and some sit-ups and some kind of workout activity because at our age you got to keep the body flowing. You got to and he's got to keep loose too for playing drums and whatnot.
Sure.
So that's the good thing. Is like I love having him on the road with me because he holds me accountable. And like on our off days, we go play basketball. And let me tell you, the dude can play basketball like he's fucking Steph Curry. I call him the Italian Pistol Pete Maravich. He's insane. The guy could shoot like lights out, off the dribble, off the pass. He's got moves like for his age, the way he plays basketball, and he kicks my ass every time. He does. He kicks my ass every time. But if I played as much as he did, I'd give him a run for his money. I don't play 3 times a week like he does.
One of these days.
I'm gonna get that little son bitch one day. I'm telling you, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him good too. But yeah, so there's some sort of activities which keep us active and keep the mental health in check. That's super important when you're on the road. So I think exercise,
Absolutely.
and when I'm home, I like to box and do Muay Thai boxing and MMA fighting and stuff like that. And it's not for as a recreational, as a training type of thing, not to fight anybody. But
Sure.
so I like to keep in shape on that aspect, so it helps my mental health, and I like to carry that right over to the road. So yeah, that's a day in the life of a drum tech, and then the show goes off, and people want set lists, so you're handing out set lists at the end and throwing out drumsticks. That's the fun part to all that, and then you get to tear down, pack up, throw it in the truck under an hour. I think that's super important to get it done in under an hour, and
Yep.
take a shower, smoke a joint, go to bed. That's I summed up my day on the road right there. And
And
it,
then
and
yeah,
it's
just rinse,
funny.
repeat.
Yeah, and I've lost relationships over this lifestyle because they think, oh, it's all sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and you're going to be out there getting your dick sucked, and you're gonna no, it's not like that at all.
Not
There's
whatsoever.
it kind of sucks actually because there's no girls hanging out at the end of the night. Like, what
No,
happened
it's
to the
you and
days
the
of rock
band.
and
Like
roll?
it's
Yeah, what happened to the days of rock and roll? The girls are hanging out at the end of the night. What happened to all that? What happened to like if we were playing sleazy Buck Cherry type shit, then maybe those broken down showgirls will be still at the end of the night. But it ain't like that on the jam scene. So so everybody who has these conceptions or misconceptions, if you will, of what it's like to be on the road and it's nothing but a party, it ain't all nothing but a party. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of no sleeping, and it's a lot of busting your ass, and it's a lot of preparing to make sure the band is comfortable.
well, it's a lot of work. And one of my good friends, Marshall, the front of house for Munyon, he likes to say, the most important day for me is tomorrow. Like I need to be ready to go the next day. So like I don't party on the road because if something goes wrong with the audio, it's on me.
Mhm.
And it's not about partying and, being the life of the party and getting as fucked up as you want to be. I mean, like, there's a time and a place for everything. It's called college. No,
Right.
there's a time and a place for everything, and that's not always right after the show. I mean, you're going around and, I know at the time of this taping, we've got Mo going on tour in a couple of weeks. You're gonna be, doing this whole damn thing, and it's work. It's intensive.
It's intensive, man. And that's another reason why I like to go to the gym and keep in shape because you're moving heavy gear, you're moving stuff around, and we're no spring chickens, so it's important to keep the body active and eating right. Yeah, I try to eat right on the road. Sometimes it's a little hard, especially at the end of the night. There's nothing but pizza and chicken wings sometimes, so you have
Yeah.
to indulge
Yep.
if you're hungry, especially when you got the munchies, right? Right,
Facts.
Steiner.
Yeah. Hey man,
but
I don't
it,
know nothing about that. I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
but it's important to eat right, and again, and the other thing is being on the road. It's super important to give each other their space.
Yeah.
And
Mm,
I think that's really
yes.
important. That everybody should have their space, and I feel like I give everybody their space. I also feel like everybody comes to me for things too. Like a need a laugh or a joke or like a shot of inspiration. Like I like to be that. I like to be that vessel
It's
for
great to be
everybody
that guy.
in the band. Like, hey, how you feeling today? I'm feeling great. I tell everybody it's going to be
You're
a
the
great
morale
fucking day.
guy.
Every day I tell them it's going to be a great fucking day. Look where we are. It's 100 degrees outside. We're on a sand dune in beautiful Charleston, South Carolina. How could things be bad right now? This is beautiful. In a few minutes, we're going to go hit the waves, and then Mo's going to play, and we're going to get paid to be here, and we're going to pack up everything, and we're going to go back swimming, and we're going to take a shot. Like, these are great moments we get to have. And though it's work, we get to do cool shit, you know?
Right. Facts. Well, that is about all the time we have for today's episode. Z, thank you so much for being on the show. This was really a great time.
Hey, buddy, this is as much of a train wreck as I expected it to be. So I thank you so much. This has been great, man. This has been so cool to hang out with you. I'm open anytime. You should come do my podcast sometime,
I
and
would
we
love
just
to.
sit there and shoot the shit. And So let's keep in touch and exchange contact and all that. Have your people
Absolutely.
contact my people.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. No. My people. Yeah. My person will get in touch with your people.
Awesome.
Um, we will absolutely make that happen. This was really truly a pleasure. This is a really just a phenomenal way to round out season two. I would like to thank my lovely wife and producer Steiner for all the work she's done. Thank you to Bayleaf
She get
Studios for
she gets
producing
a
our pet.
bell.
Yes, yes, she
Justine
does.
rocks.
Yes, she does. She is absolutely the best. Thank you, Justine. Thank you, Mife Designs, for producing these pins. Thank you, Bayleaf Studios, for producing our patches. Thank you, Tenacious Toys, for being a part of the program and giving us some eye candy. And most importantly, thank you to all of our guests and to all of our listeners and our viewers who have made Secondhand Talent possible. We would not be where we are today without you. And we absolutely cannot wait to start season three with you on March 6th. That's a podcast.
That's a wrap, buddy.